There are times in history that are inflection points where the arc of history will go one direction or another. I believe this election is one of those inflection points. You know, if you look at public opinion polling right now, a majority of Americans believe that our kids will have a worse life than we did. 65%. That is stunning. It's the first time in history that has been the case. Maybe the most un-American idea you can think of.
America was warned about the numbers emanating from Iowa that predicted a huge win for the tycoon-turned-politician, but few saw what the evangelical vote would do and spin the Republican presidential sweepstakes on its ear. Now we are awash in charges of fraud, lawsuits, more name-calling, and a candidate who has to break from a recent mold of winners from the Hawkeye state. That candidate joins us here on the Hardline. Pleasure to welcome back the senator from Texas and Iowa caucus winner, Ted Cruz. Senator, first of all, congratulations on the big win in Iowa.
Well, thank you, Ed. It was a remarkable night. And as you observed, all the pundits, all the media, all the polls claimed that we were going to lose Iowa, claimed Donald Trump was going to win. Donald Trump promised he was going to win Iowa. And the people of Iowa, the voters, had something different to say about it. What we saw Monday night was an incredible victory for the grassroots. And I'll tell you what was most encouraging, Ed, is that we saw the old Reagan coalition coming together. We saw conservatives, we saw evangelicals and libertarians and Reagan Democrats all uniting behind our campaign, and it was an historic turnout, the highest turnout ever. And it really is the power of the grassroots standing up to the media and standing up to the Washington cartel.
If you look at Ted Cruz, he's got tremendous money from the oil companies. He's going to take care of the oil companies. He's going to take care of Wall Street, even though he didn't report his loans. He's going to take care of Wall Street. If you look at some of these people, all of them, they all have money. So, and it's all from Wall Street, it's from oil, it's from different things. Now, those people are 100% going to like a little puppet. They're going to take care of those interests. With me, I have nobody. I just want to take care of you. I just want to do the right thing.
Senator, let's talk a little bit about what's coming up next. The polls show that Donald Trump is way ahead of you in New Hampshire. But again, some say that the message will not resonate as it did in Iowa because you had a very strong evangelical vote in Iowa, but you don't have it in New Hampshire. What's your take on that?
Well, look, it's not surprising that other candidates are trying to spin that they're going to do better in New Hampshire. Those are candidates who just lost the first caucus in the nation. It is true there are fewer evangelicals in New Hampshire, but there are a lot more libertarians, and we've got tremendous support among libertarians. And we also have tremendous support among Reagan Democrats, among blue-collar Catholic workers, among truck drivers and mechanics and steel workers and auto workers. You know, we just had an event, a town hall here in New Hampshire. There was a couple there, a union carpenter and a teachers union member who was a lunch lady at a public school. Both of them came out supporting us because it's the working men and women who are getting hammered under the Obama-Clinton economy. And so what I am so encouraged by, to win the nomination and to win the general, you've got to reassemble the old Reagan coalition. And there is no candidate in this race that has a greater portion of the Reagan coalition that has brought together more conservatives plus evangelicals plus libertarians plus Reagan Democrats. That's what it takes to win the nomination. That's what it takes to win the general election and beat Hillary Clinton.
Let's talk about that race then. It could be a two-way race between you and Donald Trump going into South Carolina and the southern states. Now, Mr. Trump is out on Twitter, as he usually does, saying that you stole the Iowa election and he wants a do-over. What do you think?
Well, look, we have now gotten used to the temper tantrums or Trumper tantrums that he throws. Whenever he's unhappy, he melts down and he explodes on Twitter. It is odd behavior for a grown man. It is more something you would expect to see in romper room. That typically you don't throw your toys on the floor and stomp when you don't win. Now I understand Donald had promised everyone he was going to win in Iowa. And the people of Iowa disagreed with him on that. They voted against him, and we won. And I get that he's unhappy. But whenever he's unhappy, Donald blames someone else. It's always somebody else's fault. It's never his fault. What happened is the people in Iowa looked at his record and looked at mine. And they realized that Donald Trump's record is not conservative, that he supports government socialized health care. That his health plan is identical to Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. It's expanding Obamacare and putting the federal government in charge of you and your doctor. If I'm president, we're going to repeal every word of Obamacare. Well, you know what? Republican primary voters want to repeal Obamacare. They don't want Trump care socialized medicine. They don't want Donald Trump's support of eminent domain. He's an emphatic supporter of using government power to condemn private property, to take your home, and to give it to giant corporations and casinos. I believe in property rights and have spent my entire adult life fighting to defend the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. This election will be on issues and substance. Donald doesn't want to debate the issues and substance. Instead, he just wants to engage in insults. I'm not going to respond in kind. I'm not interested in insulting Donald, and I don't think the American people are interested in hearing politicians bicker like children.
I only have a short time left, but you brought up Obamacare, and again, we've got to go back to this because here we go again. The tweet from Donald Trump that says you're a total liar over the claim in one of your TV ads that he wants Obamacare. He says he wants to repeal it. So how do you answer that total liar statement?
Well, it's kind of amusing because the language in my ad is his own mouth. It's video of him saying it. I mean, Donald sometimes seems to live in this alternate reality where he just yells liar at himself, at video of Donald saying, we need the government to provide for everyone's health care. In one of the early debates, Ed, the Republican debates as a presidential candidate, he said we need to adopt socialized medicine like they have in Canada, like they have in Scotland. That's his views. Now, look, he's entitled to have those views, but they're the exact same as Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, and he doesn't just get to scream liar when someone points out the substance of what he's campaigning on. Donald has explained, and this is his own words, he says, I, Donald Trump, am a liberal on health care. Well, he doesn't get to pretend otherwise, and if he's going to run for president, he's got to be willing to stand in front of the voters and make the case and defend his record. And, Ed, I think that's why he skipped the Iowa debate. He was afraid of defending his record because it's not conservative. And it'll be interesting to see if he skips the New Hampshire debate, too, because he wants to make this a debate about insults and personal attacks. I intend to keep the focus on my positive, optimistic, conservative vision for this country, how we can bring back jobs and economic growth, how we can defend the Constitution, how we can restore America's leadership in the world. And that's why conservatives are uniting behind our campaign. It's why we won Iowa by a big margin. And it's why I believe we're going to win the nomination and go on to beat Hillary Clinton in the general election and turn this country around.
Senator, as you said, unfortunately for some, the romper room is always open. I have a feeling that we'll probably see a lot more toys thrown around before we get to the end of this. Congratulations once again on your win in Iowa, Senator. Always a pleasure. We'll look forward to talking to you after New Hampshire.
Very good. Thank you, Ed. Take care.
Take care, Senator. Well, it makes no difference if you're celebrating or picking up the pieces after Iowa. Republicans need to ask themselves a question. And the head of Citizens United will join us next to provide some direction on the hard line.